So, with today being my son's 30th birthday, I started reflecting, and the word sacrifice came to my mind. Um, as a mother or as a parent, a lot of us sacrifice a lot for our children. Um, and it made me think, what exactly is sacrifice? Because sacrifice is not sacrificing yourself to raise a child, because ultimately we have the decision to choose whether we have that child or not. I chose because I felt it in my spirit. I knew I was young. I was 15 when I found out I was pregnant. And the direction in my life was not so wonderful. I was lost. I was angry. I was hurt because of the things that I had experienced in life. And so, because of that, when I got pregnant, I had no idea what I was going to do. But I just knew that I had a human being growing inside of me that I needed to have here in this world. I knew that it was a sacrifice I was willing to make, even if I didn't know what direction his life or mine will go in. For some people, they might feel that's selfish, making a decision like that at 15. But now that he's 30, I realized throughout the years that a lot of the decisions that were made in my life, people didn't understand, but it always came to pass. And the sacrifice that I made came to pass because I was not able to have any more children. So had it not been for me making the decision to have my child and to birth him into this world, I will be without a child. So for me, that sacrifice meant everything and was worth every moment. For some people, it's not that simple. Not to say it was simple for me, the decision was simple for me, not the journey. There's a difference. I prayed and asked God to give me a boy, because I didn't want a girl based off of the way my life had been going. I didn't want her to be like me. But I just saw a saying the other day that said, tell God your plan and he'll laugh. And I'm a prime example of that. God gave me my boy, but he never told me that my boy will be just like me. I learned a lot as a mother. My son taught me what sacrifice means, because at 15, I had no idea what sacrifice meant. 16, 17, 18, I had no idea what sacrifice meant, even as a mother. It took me to grow with my child for me to learn what actual sacrifice was. And for me, sacrifice is giving or putting yourself and your needs behind someone else's. It took me a while to learn that, because again, I was a child when I had him, and I didn't understand it. But I realized that when people say how they sacrifice things for others or even for themselves, I don't think we actually understand what that really means. I learned it through my son and now through my grandchildren. My grandchildren teach me every day about sacrifice. And I didn't realize just how deep that word goes. I know now that sacrifice is when you're willing to take everything that you have inside of you to make a decision to make somebody else's life better, to take somebody's pain and to make it into something positive. I learned that sacrifice is love. Out of all the things I've learned in my life, the one thing that I have definitely got a grasp on is love. Love in different forms. Love is what I realized that saves a lot. So when I think of sacrifice, I think of love. I think of when you sacrifice yourself for others, ultimately, it's love. And it doesn't have to be a love from a relationship. This is love way beyond that. This is love for yourself, love for others. Love trumps all at the end of the day. So when I think how 30 years ago I chose to sacrifice my life to bring another life in this world, in spite of me not knowing the outcome, I'm thankful that I made that sacrifice. I'm thankful that I've made all of the sacrifices I've made in my life thus far, because I understand now what it really means to sacrifice. I sacrificed everything that I knew to go into the unknown, which was motherhood. All I knew was what I had been seeing from those around me, and seeing the sacrifices that the women that were mother figures to me, as well as my own mother, my godmothers, my grandmothers, sacrificed so much for the children. And it made me admire them, because although I didn't understand it at the time, I knew that one day I would. And it was the best sacrifice I've ever made in my entire life, because my life would not be where it is today had it not been for my son. God gave me a blessing that he knew that could change me into a better woman, to make me to be the woman he needed me to be, not for myself or my son, but for him first. That sacrifice is beyond my comprehension, because as we speak, I still to this day choose to sacrifice myself for my son, my grandchildren, my family, my friends, my loved ones, because now that I'm older and I understand that word and what it's attached to, I would do it all over again with no problem. What's your definition of sacrifice?